All right, let's talk about what you want to include in your slideshow for your your product project presentation. Okay, so here listed on this page, so this page is in your packet that you have for this lab, experimental data lab. So each one of these little things pretty much should be a slide. So that should be a slide. This should be a slide. I think that this one right here will actually take several slides. I used it on several slides because the things that I could type out, I typed out, and then for the mathematical computing part, I wrote it nicely, then I took a picture of it and did that. And then of course you're going to want to have a slide for your conclusion. So, I mean, at the very minimum, you've got 4 slides. But again, I think this section should be multiple slides. Now, you want to make sure that you include visual elements, pictures of the products, possibly even a video if you had taken video while this process was going on. Before you get started on this, you need to divvy up amongst your people in your group who's going to do these various slides. You need to split these sections up so that each person is doing part of these slides all to themselves. Okay, and then the final component will be videoing you and your partners in your group going over the slideshow. Okay. Now we'll have to talk when we'll talk in class about all the different options of how you can go over the slideshow. You know, you could maybe do Snapchat and merge those videos together, however you wanted to do that. You might consider having a script, but I think maybe people can read off the slideshow. So that's one of the benefits. Do your Google Slides, or you can do it on Canva, which the Canva slideshows are blocked on the school email or the school filter. Okay, but if you used your own hotspot or you did your presentation at home, then you could do that. All right. So there is the basics to your project. Now let's look at one. So the first slide is your introduction, title and the students who are creating it, what products are being tested, and you need to look up the price per unit, the price per ounce or however that works for those 2 items, because that's a key. That is like the key consideration in a benefit to using the generic over the name brand. Okay. And now what question are you answering about your product? All right. So here's how that slide might look. Here's one where it said Lay's potato chips versus the Great Value potato chips. Here, there was the price for the Lay's potato chips versus the price for the Great Value. The question that we were asking, are the Lay's preferred more than Great Value? And then, look here, we had the people that did this presentation. Okay, the 3 people or whatever who had done that. Look here, there's pictures of the products. So consider having that as well. All right. The second slide will be about your data collection process. State how you controlled the experiment, how you randomized it, and how the sample size you used and how you did repetition in your class. So here is an example of how that might look. These are the principles of experimental design. The control is this is what we had done. We placed these chips on a plate and so on, and you can read that. Here is how we chose to randomize when the people came up to our testing station. Here is how we randomized so that it wasn't everybody starting with the same one. And then here is how the repetition was done. All right. Then the third component is the math. And this could take multiple slides, not just one. So for example, here was a embedded video. So you may have embedded video. So we put our results. You do not have to have it in a display, a graphical display, but if you did, awesome. But here is the very minimum. You should start off, these are the things that are in that hypothesis test. Defined the parameter, and I was able to type it up. P equals the proportion of times the Lay's is preferred over great value. The null hypothesis is that P was 50%, HA, P was greater than 50%. And then here's that part I was talking about, where I wrote the math very nice and neatly, and then I took a picture of it and I emailed it to myself so that I could put that right there. And that showed then what the p-value was, so that here the p-value compares to alpha, and here's the decision. All right, so there's all that math of that hypothesis test. So that's a little section. And then here comes the final component. The final slide or slides should be about your conclusion. In our case, there was not evidence that the Lay's potato chips were preferred significantly more than great value. And so, what does that ultimately mean? Well, in this case, save your money. Save your money, because those great value chips were less than half of the Lay's. They were 16 cents per ounce as opposed to 33 cents per ounce. All right. So that is how a presentation will be done. And then I just had put a blank page there. And so that's what you're expected to accomplish for your slideshow. And then you are expected to somehow video. You and your partners each can either put a video of you on there, or you can just voice over the slideshow to make your presentation going over your product results. All right, that is your final component. FYI, in your packet, there is the rubric of how these items will be graded so that you can do well on this test grade this quarter. So here is how if your introduction has all of these components, or some of them missing, or whatever, then you can see that. And again, when it talks about all elements are present or whatever, that is found here. These are the elements that we're stating about that need to be on the page. Here's the elements that need to be on the page. Here's the elements that need to be on the page, or the pages in that sense. Okay, good luck to you, and we hope to see some creative, very good, very interesting experimental design project products.